our last session, we have started with hydraulic drives and even seen some elements of hydraulic drives, that is pumps, hydraulic cylinder and direction control valve. Today in this session we are going to continue with that topic of hydraulic elements. Further we are going to see pressure valves, throttle valves, and even we are going to study schematic diagram of hydraulic drives for a rotary motion. This is Faizan Kagdi and I welcome you all to our lecture series of machine tool design. So let's begin with our topic. So next component, that is next element which we need to study is the pressure valves. So we can say, as the name itself suggests, pressure valves, which means it is going to control the pressure of a fluid, that is oil, in a particular line of a hydraulic circuit. Now pressure valve is going to act as a safety valve, that is it is going to protect the hydraulic circuit or hydraulic drive against excessive pressure. That is, whenever the pressure inside a line increases beyond the permissible pressure limit, then it will act as a safety valve. Okay, and second function is it is also going to act as a bypass valve. Now what is a bypass valve? So we would say excessive oil can be drained off through this pressure valve, okay, back into the reservoir. Okay, now we can see further that safety valve are not operated frequently. Now one of the type of pressure valve is a safety valve. So it is not operated frequently, only it is operated when a pressure inside a line increases beyond the safe limit. Okay, so we need to design this safety valve based on a purpose, that is oil tightness when it is closed. Whereas bypass valve operates almost continuously, therefore the design requirements for this valve is not based on oil tightness, but it has to be designed considering a wear resistance of a seal and packing. So let us see the first type of a pressure valve. There are two types, that is a ball type pressure valve and a spool type pressure valve. So as you can see on your screen, the diagram for ball type pressure valve is shown. Now in this diagram, let us understand the construction. Now you can see the body of a valve is shown and a bottom portion of a valve is connected to the line. Okay, through this line oil is going to flow. Now the oil is coming from a pump outlet, okay, and it is trying to go into a system. Now when this ball type valve will be used, so when a pressure exceeds beyond a permissible limit, remember this term, pressure inside a line exceeds the permissible pressure limit, only at that time this ball type valve will act as a safety valve. Okay, now within this you can see there is a ball provided. Okay, this ball is resting on a valve seat, or we would say a ball seat, and on this ball a pressure is exerted by the spring. Okay, now the spring pressure, or we can say spring force, which is exerted on a ball can be controlled by a threaded sleeve. You can see on a top side of a valve that threaded sleeve is provided, which means we can rotate that threaded sleeve in order to tighten the spring. In order to tighten the spring, higher is a tighten force, we would say higher would be the spring force that would be exerted on a ball. So remember that a spring force which is exerted on a ball will be equal to the permissible pressure limit of this hydraulic drive. Okay, now in normal working condition, ball is not going to be lifted up, which means no opening will be provided, the oil will directly flow into the system. But when a pressure inside the line increases beyond a safe limit, then what's going to happen? Then that oil will enter into the valve through port 1, which you can see. As soon as it enters, it is going to push the ball and a ball will be lifted up against this spring force. Now we can say that an excessive oil can be drained off back into the reservoir through two ports which are provided. You can see port number 2 and port number 3. So through both the ports we can say oil will be drained back into the reservoir. So it's very simple, working is very simple. Remember, spring is going to exert a force on a ball which is equal to the maximum permissible pressure. Okay, and when a ball will be lifted up only when a pressure increases beyond a permissible limit. Okay, so I hope that you are clear with the ball type pressure valve. Now let us see the next type of a valve. So as you can see on your screen, spool type valve is shown. The diagram is shown. Okay, now let us first understand the diagram. So in this diagram you can see a square, at the bottom side a square shape is shown representing a reservoir which is filled with the oil. Okay, On the top side there is a piston cylinder arrangement. Within a cylinder there are two pistons which are connected by means of a piston rod. So in between the two pistons you can see I have written piston 1 and piston 2. Both the pistons are connected by a rod, that is called a piston rod. Okay. Now there is a circle exactly above the reservoir. That circle is a representation of a pump. Okay, so this is a pump which is connected with the cylinder through port 1. Okay. Now on the top side of a cylinder there is a spring arrangement you can see. The spring is going to exert a force on both the piston 1 and piston 2. Let's say the force exerted by spring is PS. Again, on the top side of a spring there is a threaded sleeve provided which can control the force exerted by a spring, which means if we tighten it totally, then we would say maximum spring force will be exerted on a piston. So as you can see, PS is a representation of a spring force exerted on both the piston 1 and piston 2. Now you can see there is a weight W which is shown in a downward direction, indicating that it's a weight of both the piston 1 and piston 2 in a downward direction. So because of this weight we can say that there would be a frictional resistance to this weight in an upward direction, right? So F is a force which you can see in an upward direction shown is a frictional resistance to the weight of a piston. Okay, now let us understand how it's going to operate. So in normal condition of equilibrium we can say that P plus F, where P is a force which is exerted on the piston in an upward direction by means of this oil. Okay, so in normal condition this force exerted by the oil plus the friction force is equal to the force exerted by the spring in a downward direction plus the plus the weight of a piston in a downward direction. So when this condition is maintained, this valve is not going to be operated. Remember, when the condition of equilibrium is maintained, T plus F is equal to PS plus W is maintained, this valve will not be operated. But now when this valve will be operated, so whenever the pressure inside a line is increased, so what's going to happen? So we would say the P plus F is going to be increased, right? The force which is exerted on a piston in an upward direction, that is capital P, which you can see on your screen, will increase. Okay, along with that, weight is going to remain constant, right? Spring force again is going to remain constant. So P increasing plus F is constant. So what's going to happen? So we would say piston will move in an upward direction. In which direction? In upward direction. Because of that, we can say port 1 will get connected to port 3. See carefully. When a piston will move in upward side, at present piston 1 is covering port 3. Okay, in normal equilibrium condition, piston 1 is covering port 3, which means what oil cannot flow. But when condition of equilibrium is unbalanced, so what's going to happen? Piston 1 will move in upward direction, port 1 will get connected with port 3 and excessive oil will flow through port 1 into port 3 and finally back into the reservoir. So this is how the excessive oil will flow back into the reservoir. So this is a working of a spool type pressure valve. Okay, so I hope that you are clear with the working of this pressure valve. So we have seen over here two types of pressure valve. First is a ball type pressure valve and second is a spool type pressure valve. Okay, now let's proceed further. Next we need to see throttle valve. Now, what's the function of a throttle valve? So the function of a throttle valve is to reduce the pressure of oil within a line or within a hydraulic circuit. Now this is done at constant enthalpy. You would have heard about throttling process. So what is that? That throttling process means pressure reduction process. Okay, so throttle valve are a flow control valve provided with the orifice which can change the area of a passage. Its function is to reduce pressure to regulate oil flow. Okay, so on your screen you can see there are two types of throttle valve shown. First is called a globe valve, second is called a needle valve. Now let us understand the construction of first step for valve, that is you can see a valve body is represented by a hatching lines, that is a sectional view is shown. Okay, now there is a disc provided at the center of a valve body, right? Now this disc is connected with a hand wheel which you can see. Okay, so this disc is going to provide an opening to the oil. So it is very obvious that when a disc is fully lifted up by means of a hand wheel, it is going to provide a maximum opening to the oil. and when it is fully closed, the oil cannot flow through this valve, and even it can provide a partial opening, which means it can increase the area of a passage or reduce the area of a passage. Now, throttling, or we would say pressure reduction, can only take place if we reduce the area of a passage through which a oil is flowing. So high pressure oil enters and tries to passes through the narrow passage, that is a orifice which has formed because of a opening of a disc, and finally at an exit from a disc, we would say pressure reduction will take place. So similar is the case with the second one, that is a needle valve shown. In that, needle shape is kept at an opening inside the valve body, which means if we partially open this needle, we can say there would be a narrow passage formed within a valve, and because of that, pressure reduction will take place, and at an exit of a valve we would get a reduced pressure oil. Now, why we need to reduce the pressure? So let us understand that basically it is used in a machine tool to compensate change in oil temperature and pressure, hence minimizing vibration and smooth out the transition flow in order to provide a uniform travel of machine tool operative manual. So remember, along with the reduction in pressure, it is also going to reduce the temperature, which is the main problem. If there is an increment in the pressure and temperature, vibration problem will take place, and we know if vibration take place, then it is going to reduce the accuracy of our machine tool. Okay, so for that it is always required to reduce the pressure, which is done by means of our throttle valve. Okay guys, so I hope that you are clear with the throttle valve and for the valves, that is the pressure valve, ball type and spool type. Now let's proceed further and let us understand the hydraulic drives for the rotary motion. So as you can see on your screen, it has been displayed the diagram of a rotary hydraulic drive. So first of all, let us understand the construction of this hydraulic drive. Now you can clearly see there is a tub shown, that is the reservoir shown in which oil has been filled. Okay. On a bottom left side, you can see there is a motor provided that is going to take electricity and going to generate mechanical power. Now that power is provided to the gears. So there are two gears. Let's say gear 1 has speed Z1 and gear 2 has speed Z. Okay, so two gears are in meshing, which means it is very obvious that Z1, the gear which has a Z1 number of teeth is of a smaller size, and that one which is in meshing Z2 is of a bigger size, which means the speed reduction will take place from a motor to the pump shaft. Okay, now this second gear which has a Z2 number of teeth is connected with the pump. Now this pump is a vane pump. The vane pump, which we have already discussed in our last session. So if you have not seen that video, first refer that video and after that only try to understand this. Otherwise you will not get an idea. First understand the function of a vane pump, how it's going to operate. Okay, so over here there are two circles shown. First inner circle is a representation of a cylindrical rotor on which slots were there, right? Outer circle is a representation of a cylindrical casing. Okay, now we know that a mechanical power is required to run a pump. Okay, so that is provided by gear having a Z2 number of teeth. So it's gonna rotate the pump at a high speed. Now what's gonna happen? So we would say the pump is going to suck the oil from a reservoir, which you can see. So the pump side, which is inside a reservoir, you can see on the bottom side there is a meshing square shape shown, which is a representation of a strainer. Okay, the function of strainer is to remove mud particles which could be present in a oil. After filtering, that oil will come into a pump, and from a pump we would say increased pressurized oil will try to flow out from a pump and will enter into a hydraulic motor. Now before going into a hydraulic motor, there is a pressure gauge provided which is going to measure the pressure of the oil. Okay, after measuring that, if the pressure has been increased, we could say beyond the permissible limit, so we know which device is going to drain the excessive oil back into the reservoir. So that is a pressure valve which we have discussed, right? So on the bottom side you can see pressure valve is represented, so excessive oil can flow back into a reservoir. That oil will enter into a hydraulic motor. Now hydraulic motor is going to operate on a reverse principle of a vane pump, which means in general case vane pump was increasing a pressure by taking a mechanical energy. right? That is rotational motion from a motor. Now hydraulic motor is going to make use of a pressure energy of a oil which has been generated from a pump, which means a pressurized oil will run the cylindrical rotor of a hydraulic motor, and finally a rotational motion, that is mechanical power, will be generated. So that mechanical power will be finally provided to the pulley of a belt drive. Okay, you can see the belt drive arrangement is shown on the right side of your screen. So that pulley is going to be rotated, and by means of a belt drive arrangement, we are going to finally get a power at an output shaft, that is a spindle shaft. Okay, so I hope that you are clear with the working of this hydraulic drive. So this is how hydraulic drive is used for transmitting a power from an electric motor to the machine tool spindle. So in today's session, we are keeping up till here. In our next session, we will start with our next topic, that is electric motor, selection of electric motor. So till then, stay tuned and thank you all.